We're ready to begin recording now and placing the electrocap to get the QEEG data. The software has been set up previously, so we have our volunteer who is generously going to allow us to demonstrate how to do this EEG recording. This is the electrocap that we use. You can actually use a variety of types of caps, but we like this particular one. It has tin or silver chloride sensor discs embedded in a plastic housing and a elastic cap specifically designed to find the 1020 locations correctly. This one also has ear drops, which are connections used for the ear clips, and so we'll be able then to connect these to the ears and have it come right through the cap, and then the cap has this ribbon cable. And at the other end of the ribbon cable, we have this connector. We call this a DB25, 25-pin connector. This connector will go right into the front of the Atlantis like this. And I'll also point out at this time, the Discovery rather, I'll point out that the Discovery has connections on the top separately for each lead if we want to do that as well. So we have a choice of how to do that. What I'm going to do first then is to abrade the ears, and the way we abrade the ears, we ask our subject to kindly take some of this new prep gel with the thumb and forefinger, and then that gel can be used just a little bit, that's fine, and then to abrade the earlobe lightly on both the front and the back, and to do that on both ears. And that then helps us make a good connection to the ears. And we can, if we like, wipe it off a little bit with a tissue. It's optional. Some people just leave the new prep on. That's fine. Then we're going to take these ear clips, and what we see is that the hat, which has a label in the back, has the right ear clip is red, red for right, and the white is the left. So I'm going to take a little bit of 1020 paste, and 1020 is a common electrode paste that we use for scalp recording as well as using it on the ear clips. So I'm going to take a little bit of 1020 paste and just scoop a little bit right onto the ear clip like this, and then I like to put the ear clip on the underside of the earlobe. With your permission, I'm going to clip this on, and that's that simple. We now have a connection to the back of the ear. And then I'll take the white and I will gather up a little bit of 1020 paste in that.
Turn this way a little bit. Okay.
And then I'm going to place this ear clip on the left ear, again with your permission. And there we are. So now we have left and right ear connections. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and first place the cap on the head. So I keep the ear connections kind of off to the side a little bit, and I will open the cap, and then pulling it gently from front to back, pull it down, and see to it that it's centered nicely and that the forehead leads, in fact, are over the forehead. The midline comes straight down the back, and then I'll pull the rear back to tighten those. And I'm going to go ahead and use a chin strap. It's an option. We use also a cap called a surgical cap with no chin strap. This particular one has a chin strap. So what I can do is connect the left ear to its eardrop, just like that. And I can connect the right ear to its eardrop, just like this. And then I could very lightly use the Velcro on the bottom of the chin strap just to give a light connection there and hold it back. And then, Beth, if you turn your head aside, people can see that this is snug on the head and that we're basically getting a secure hold down. Okay, now I can go ahead and plug this into the Discovery, and having done that, we're ready to begin monitoring, and we're going to start gelling the electrodes right after we get our first signals on the screen. Okay, we first placed the electrocap on our subject, We've not yet gelled the electrodes, and what we want to do is begin monitoring. So we've already set up the training folder. We've looked at our folder selections and set up the new folder. We've gone into view or change settings and made sure we're comfortable with the settings. And so we're ready now to run the next session. So I'm going to press run the next session, and this brings up the training screen for Discovery. Now we call this the training control screen. It will show the complete raw EEG waves, and if we do training it will also show the training channels. I'm going to go ahead and expand it using the maximize button. This now gives us the whole screen to work in. And I'm going to press go, and we will see that it says ready to start. Place EEG cap, hit OK to start now, hit cancel to start later. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK to start now. Now this is initializing some z-scores because I have training software in here. We're just going to click through this, but we can see that we do have C3 and C4 set up for training as well. So I'm going to say yes, and now the system begins to acquire EEG. And here we now see our signals. Now the electrodes have not yet been gelled, and for that reason then we anticipate that we're not going to be getting good signals. And we also expect that we would be seeing relatively large offsets when we start to gel. So what I'm going to do then is walk over and begin to gel the electrodes, and we'll continue to watch this screen while we do that. Alright, we're going to begin gelling the electrodes. The first thing I'm going to do is just make sure I'm happy here with this ear lead. Get it under the cap nicely. There we are. And you can see that as I disturb the cap, the recordings definitely stir themselves up. And what we're going to do now is gather up this electrogel into my blunt needle. And the first thing I do is simply go around and add gel to every connection, but I don't really abrade it too much, and I don't worry about it too much. And as I start to do that, we now begin to get a connection to the skin through the hair. But we're going to start off with some pretty poor connections, but we'll start it off that way. I always do about 2 passes or maybe 3 in order to get all of the sensors nicely gelled. And then when I go into a braid, I really only do that kind of once, and I try not to do that too harshly, especially on the forehead. And if you watch the traces, you will see that the traces now begin to change as I gel the sensor. The sensor that's being gelled, the signal starts to jump around, and then the offsets also start to jump all over the place, because now we're starting to get a contact to the head. And excuse me, this one had a little crust in it actually. Make sure you keep your all your electro caps clean and